So guys, here we go. Our first look, proper look, calmly, let's say, on the SU-30 SM2. I was waiting for this aircraft to be properly implemented, and now here it is, guys. We're gonna check it out, all the things about this aircraft and why it is so good. And arguably one of the best aircraft in the game. We don't know if it is going to be the best because, of course, we still have the Rafale, which is insane, of course. And also, the Eurofighters are always a very big threat, right? We have the Gripen E that is getting added, that we're going to do a video about it later. So it's just crazy how good these aircrafts are becoming, right? But this is the new version of the Flanker, guys. And it is probably the craziest version ever, just because, of course, it is the good old SM that we already know and love. But, of course, with some upgrades that are pretty interesting. Mainly two. And I'm pretty sure it's still work in progress, right? Obviously. So, the first one, of course, is the extra engine power, guys. We have, finally, the AL-41 engine, which is an insane evolution of the AL-31. This engine is insane, man. This is pretty much an SU-35 on an SU-30 body, right? Basically has everything that the SU-35 has, technically, right? With the heavy weight, technically, of the SU-30, right? So, what does these engines produce? Well, guys, they produce, I mean, it doesn't matter exactly, we're going to talk about it later, but they produce around 30 kilonewtons more, I mean, 20 to 30, depending on flight characteristic, you know, flight path and stuff, more than the SM. And the SM is already an upgraded engine, so it's the FB, right, which already produces a little bit more thrust than the other, like, older AL-31s, right? So this thing is insane. It's like 20-30% more strong. And you can feel that the aircraft can do a lot more. Even in the turn, guys, you can do a lot more of these turns easily because the engine is producing a little bit more thrust, and with the thrust vectoring, it means that it is a little bit more controllable, right? And you can pull the maneuvers a little bit easier. So you can do crazy things, of course, just like the other SU-30, but in an easier manner, which is insane, right? So, yeah, and it's just very controllable, especially with the canards, the automatic flaps and everything. It's just an insane aircraft. This is insane. It really is trying to be the best aircraft in the game here, right? And the second upgrade is what you are seeing on the right side of the screen. Arguably, the best radar in the game. We still need to check it out how it will be in the live server. But guys, this radar is also insane. This is a PESA radar, and it is a very large radar. It is the IRBIS, the N035, right? So you can see that the aircraft produces many upgrades that it becomes way better than the SM, right? And this radar, guys, it has an enormous amount of range, which is 350 kilometers. Even look at the scale. It goes up to 400 kilometers, which is, yeah, insane, right? So it is, like, probably one of the best radars for long range. Of course, you're never going to use these ranges, but they're there. And, of course, it is a very fast radar to scan, just like any other electronic scan array radar. This is a PESA, so normally means, I mean, in real life, it means more range than an ESA, but less preciseness, technically. But in the game, it feels just like an ESA, right? With maybe more range, but it's a larger radar as well, so I don't know. But in a general sense, guys, I think the major change, the major difference from these to the bars is the ability for you to look sideways. Okay, so older PESAs, older ISs could already do this, but with the advantages of modern technology, many aircraft, including the Gripen, including the Eurofighter, and of course the IRBIS over here with the SU-30 SM2, you can have basically a hybrid radar. Sometimes it is called as a hybrid radar, which means that not only it is using electronic scanned array, but also the radar antenna moves around, right? For example, in the Gripen, it rotates around, but it has the same effect, right? And in this case, with both of those things, you can basically, you know, run away from the target and still be able to maintain the detection, see? And still get a lock. Look at this. Look at this lock, man. Look at this. This is insane, right? It is just the utmost, like, insane radar I ever saw. So this is the main advantage, I would say, apart from the range and maybe the speed of detection. It is very similar to the bars, I would assume, but I don't know, it feels very fast. It feels like almost Eurofighter fast or even faster, right? So it is pretty good. And overall, guys, it is but the main difference compared to other radars is that you can detect targets that are really, really far away from the detection, normal detection. So a normal radar would be like this, and you already are losing the lock. And this one, you can do this, and you can even lock it, which is it's insane, man. It really is insane. Unfortunately, you cannot fire a missile right now with it. We're gonna test it out, but yeah. So this is the main advantage. So let's take a look on the loadouts that this thing has. Of course, you already saw most of them, but still. So, of course, guys, we have our KH-29s, TDs, the L. We have the KH-38s, obviously, MT and ML. You have the COBs, 1500, laser TV. You have the UPOB 1500, which is the GPS-guided, GLONASS-guided, right? You have the GROM-2, of course, the COB 500 LG, which is a pretty good bomb. COB 500, guided by TV, by GPS as well. The COB 250 LG, which is arguably one of the best guided bombs we have in this lineup, right? Because it's laser with GNSS, right? So it is a very good one. Honestly, I prefer TV, but I know a lot of people prefer laser. I used to prefer laser, but nowadays I prefer TV, so it depends. Non-guided stuff as well, of course. So it's just, and of course in the air-to-air you have the R-77-1, R-27s, R-73s, and of course in real life, guys, it has a bunch of missiles and stuff that isn't added yet. The R-37, for example, which would be insane. It's like a super mega hyper AIM-54, right? You can also take better versions of the R-73 as well, like the R-74M, if I'm not mistaken, R-73M as well. So it's overall, guys, very, very good on the payload. Of course, you still use your T220 pod, so the same pod as the SM, right? And the loadouts themselves are very similar to the SM, okay? Which makes sense. Arguably, still work in progress, so let's wait and see. For air-to-air, this would be the loadout that I use. Basically 10 R-77-1s, which is insane to have, together with 2 R-27ATs, because you never know. You can take 2 extra R-77s, but honestly, I prefer to use 2 R-27s. You never know when you're going to use a long-range IR missile, and R-73s. The DT over here, you always get a kill. One thing that I gotta say, guys, this thing still doesn't have its MAWS, right? Missile Approach Warning System. So we don't know yet if it's gonna receive it or not. Some people say that it should. So let's wait and see. We don't know. I don't know, right? So some sources claim that it should, but it doesn't matter too much, right? So let's fly it again. And afterwards, we're gonna actually take a look on the stat chart to see the performance gains this thing has compared to the SM. Here we have of course, the cockpit, very similar to the, if not the same, similar to the SM. It's an upgrade that tries to bring this thing up to be on par with the SU-35, right? So the radar, the engines, that's the main upgrade, right? So let's try to do this. I really wanted to try this. I don't think we can, but we're gonna try. I don't think we can, right? Let's see. Oh, we can! That is crazy. The missile is trying. I lost the lock because I turned too much. The missile is trying to do this. So, hold up. If I can fire, I need to do this. Because this is something that the Russians always love to try to do, which is try to get a missile launch from kind of a co-aspect situation so that you can fire on a defensive position, right? And he got a lock. Look at this. The Seeker got a lock. It doesn't have the range. Obviously, we'll lose a lot of range doing this, but... And yeah, remember, guys, not with the R-73M, but eventually, if we get the R-74M, if I'm not mistaken, or some version of the R-74 has lock-on after launch. So you could, basically get a lock afterwards so that you can actually, do this type of thing in a general sense. Oh, stutter a little bit, but I fired. Let's see. Holy Jesus Christ, look at that. Oh my God. He got the third. target. Oh my god, this is so crazy. Because now you can basically be in a defensive position, you get a lock, and you fire the missile. So, for example, here. So I'm defending from another target maybe, but I just fired a missile in a defensive position while the target is trying to look for me. Look at this. And the missile will try to get to the target, man. Oh my god, this is insane. Oh my god, this is insane, man. Oh god, this is... Oh my god. I mean, look at this. This is like a 360 shot. No, not 360. Almost 180. Look at it. I mean, the missile is doing what it can. Of course, I need to kind of maintain the lock. But see this? For up close, of course, this is not going to work at 30 kilometers. But, I mean, this is where you use the missile. Oh my god, this is scary, man. This is scary. I don't know how useful this is, but it is impressive. You gotta admit, right? Can I use this for the IR? No, the IR needs a lock because it's not a lock on after launch, right? This as well. Yeah, so it's not lock on after launch, of course. So it needs the seeker to actually lock. Of course, the more modern versions of the R-73 could do that, if I'm not mistaken. But at least you have that with the R-77, which arguably is just the best radar missile that you have. I mean, the best missile that you have anyway on this aircraft, right? Where's the missile? Look at this, man. It's basically a 180 shot, and it's doable. Holy Jesus, this thing is insane, right? This thing is insane. Let's look at the performance differences that we have. So the first thing, let's check out the engine performance over here, guys. And you can clearly see the difference. The blue one is the SM2, the orange one is the SM. And you can see that in the lower airspeeds before the boost that they actually buffed the SM back in the day, right? You can already have like an insane, like almost like, 40 kilonewtons of more thrust. But afterwards, you get around 30 kilonewtons of extra thrust, man. This is insanely good. Insanely good. So let's go to a higher altitude over here just to see what the performance would be like this. And yeah, as you can see, we can have still the same difference, I think. Yeah, more or less at 20, a little bit less, right? Less than 20, even like, no, it's around 20. Yeah, in the higher altitudes, you get less advantage. But still, in the lower altitudes, it's between 30 and 20 kilonewtons of thrust. In the very low speeds, 40 kilonewtons of thrust more, so total, right? So it's an insane amount of power, man. It is much, much, much better than before. And if I put, let's just put it here in the lower speeds, lower altitudes where most people play anyway, you will see that the drag is still the same. So you probably have a difference in weight, but I would assume that it's very minor, right? And you have here an insane amount of thrust with the same drag, which means you have a much better acceleration, especially in the low airspeeds over here. You can see 10, 20% more, depending on the situation. Yeah, 10% more or less. Let's see time to speed, where you can actually measure, like properly see. So, for example, at 1,000 kilometers per hour, the SM2 does 20 seconds. This does 24, man. So it's a big difference. Because if you compare to something like a Rafale, let's see the Rafale C over here, which is arguably basically the best jet in the game, right? Especially in performance. You can see that the difference between the Rafale and the SM were immense, right? And now it is not as good as the Rafale because it's still a very heavy aircraft, but it's there, right? It is much closer and it loses, you know, a little bit, but it's not by much. Before it was insane, right? I mean, 1/3 more almost, right? And now it is much, much closer. Let's see the Eurofighter over here, which is also another aircraft that will have an insane amount of thrust. Yeah, see, the Eurofighter is a little bit faster in the terms of acceleration. So yeah, the SU-30 is there, man. Let's see the F-15E. It should be even better, I think. The F-15E is it's an insane aircraft accelerating. So yeah, it's much closer, as you see, than the SU-30 SM, which is, you know, much better for whoever plays with Russian aircraft. Let's take a look on the turn performance, which is the last thing. And here you can see something very interesting, guys. The turn itself is pretty much the same, which makes sense, right? The turn will be better, like basically the same. So as you can see, it's the same turn as the SM, much worse than the other aircraft. But remember, you still have your thrust vectoring, which is something that nobody has here, and you can do the Cobras, right? So although, yes, it's much worse in a normal turn circumstance over here than even the F-15E and Eurofighter and Rafale, you know, it is still one of those things that at least it will be better, regaining speed than the SM. And of course, it will be much better because it will be more controllable because you are producing more thrust as well. So in the post-maneuver, like post-stall maneuvers, it is much better as well. So guys, this is the insanity that the Su-30 SM2 is. The best aircraft in the Russian tech tree. Is it the best in the game? Well, I honestly don't know. But arguably, I still believe the Rafale will be deadlier in a 1v1. But maybe in a whole battle, right? In a normal battle, the Su-30SM will be a little bit better because it has more missiles, a radar that it's better, and now with the extra power, right? You can use it in certain situations where maybe the Rafale will just lack the ammunition to kill all the targets that it actually could, right? So maybe just because of that. But in a 1v1, I still have a feeling that a Rafale is better, especially in a dogfight. Of course, in BVR, yeah, the SU-30SM is better, but honestly, guys, we don't do much BVR anyway. Most people don't. I do, but most people don't, right? So overall, guys, I have a feeling that, yeah, the SM2 is an insane aircraft, but you need to know how to use it, okay? So let's wait to see if they change the armament and add the MAWS, the missile approach warning system. It's the only two things that are arguably changeable right now, I think. Everything else is pretty much ready here. So let's wait and see. Maybe we will see an R-37. I doubt it, really doubt it, but it is a possibility, right? And of course, the MAWS would be something that, if it's possible, would help this aircraft a lot. So let's wait to see if they add it. So this is the Su-30 SM2. This is the first look on it. Insanity of an aircraft. It can do some things that no other aircraft can do, maybe. So yeah, it's pretty great. Still heavy, still big, but it carries a lot of missiles as well. So it has advantages and disadvantages of having this weight, okay? So I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and yeah, join the Discord down in the description. And bye, guys.